What's up, Turbo Heads? That's the name of my fan base apparently now. Turbo Heads. Terrible name.
I thought it was the geeks and the gamers.
Yeah, the geeks and game. What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Turbo Heads.
And turbo
Well,
heads.
that's the third gender. Welcome back to the Turbo Zone. I'm Alex. Today with me I have Spencer. Don't know why he's here yet.
Nope.
And, doing something new, something I haven't done before, something that I wanted to try. I've had this idea for a while. I host this channel, and I've also done Frickin' Frack, and I'm on the button mappers with Spencer and all this stuff. And through the button mappers, we are also part of a larger community of people. And I want to, instead of talking about me and what I do, I want to talk about other people. Today, Spencer, I'm here to interview you.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
All
sit
right.
down for an interview. This is the new series that I'm going to be doing. I'm not really working on like any major videos right now, so I'm doing a new, I guess like podcast thing. It's not really a podcast. We're just talking. It's just a conversation. That I'm calling Community Interviewnity. It's a terrible name, but I love it.
We'll workshop that.
Yeah, it's great. It'd be even better when I have Teddy on because it'd be the majority community and immunity. Where I'm just gonna sit down with random members of our YouTube community, kind of pick their brains, and I thought Spencer should be my first choice because you and I have done stuff together, but I feel like there's a lot more like when it comes to actually like conversing, there's a lot more of a dynamic of like me and Teddy doing stuff. You and I, whenever we tend to do stuff over here, at least it's like, look at the stupid commercial or look at the Wendy's info,
which has become a very requested segment.
Yeah, which is funny, but yeah.
There you go. You're back.
There I am. Which is funny because like you and I don't really like talk over here. It's like, hey, welcome to the stupid segment, and then like start watching commercials or something.
Right.
So I thought it'd be fun to start with you because just to kind of talk and I kind of stole some of this idea because a while back you sort of did like a thing with me and Teddy where you kind of talked to us about like how we knew each other and this and that. So like pick pieces of that and kind of stole it. So I'm also stealing from you.
Do you want to know why I feel like that failed?
Why did it fail?
I didn't think this through. The answer was obvious, but I didn't think it through at the time. But both of your answers were exactly the same because it was questions about your interactions with each other. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
They're literally just going to say the same thing. It's like, damn it.
Well, I'm going to ask you questions about yourself. I want to know about Spencer. You're the host of RPG Archive. And you're also on the Button Mappers with me and Teddy. And you've also been a part of the Itch Network. Is there anything else you've been a part of that you want to share?
No.
Okay. I was just making sure I got all my ground covered. Now, and I feel like in like let's just say 100 years, people are gonna look back at like this era of like independent creation online and be like, man, what a revolutionary time that was. So isn't it fun to have like some sort of documentation of like people and what they were thinking and how they did what they did, even if we're not like going to be famous. I doubt they're going to have like statues of me or anything, or be like, look at the pioneers of YouTube creation. But you know what I mean though, like it's just fun to know like what those people were thinking, and who knows how long this stuff will survive.
Yeah.
I have some questions lined up for you, and the first question I'm going to lay down here, I'm going to ask you, how did you first get into content creation?
Okay. I was out of video games almost entirely. I only played League of Legends. It was the 360 era that just completely lost me. And yeah, I was only playing League of Legends and just doing that kind of shit. And then at one point in time, I got... It was like a Black Friday and I got a PS3 that was on sale. I was like, dude, these are dirt cheap now. It's literally like no money. I might as well. Let's just do it. And so I got a PS3, and I got like Batman or something with it, or
It's a good game.
some. Yeah, it was fine. And then I got like PS Plus, so I could play like whatever the free game was. And that game was BioShock Infinite, and I had a blast playing it. I don't know if I would ever consider it like my favorite. We've talked about this game before, but it was certainly like, okay, so it's a first person shooter, which kind of got me out of gaming anyway. But it was like unique and interesting instead of just like a Call of Duty knockoff. So I was like, I wonder what people like online think of this. And so I started looking that up, and I saw some like reviews of it, and I'm like, oh, weird. There's like a whole like community on YouTube that like just talks about games, like shit, like games that like nobody like there's IGN, and I obviously knew about all that shit, but it was like there's like a subset that'll talk about games that are old that theoretically IGN doesn't care about anymore because it's not relevant. But they'll just talk endlessly about it. Like there's like hour-long videos of it. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then I played The Last of Us because I was watching some of those videos and people were saying how great it was. And it was great. And I was like, wow, like that's awesome. And then I started looking at these videos more, and I found a guy. Oh, what was his name? I can't remember his name. It makes me so sad because I'd love to market him. But anyway, I do not remember his name, but he had a 3-hour video about Chrono Trigger, and it was like he was like at his work, but his work was really slow, and it was like a nighttime gig. So we just set up a camera and literally just talked about Chrono Trigger for 3 hours. And I was just mesmerized by it. I was like, wow, he really went for it. Like, this is unmarketable. You can't sell this to anybody. You can't, like, I could never recommend that video. I could never be like, hey, you should check this out. But it was a completely unstructured, like, stream of consciousness about, like, my favorite game. And I was working at a place where you could just, like, listen to things. And I still work in that industry. And so, yeah, I just turned it on one day, and I listened to the whole thing, and I was spellbound by it. And then I listened to a bunch of his other stuff. He would do that all the time. He did one for like Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy VI, just tons, like any game you can think, KOTOR. And he would just expound on it endlessly. And I was like, God, I want to do that. Like, that sounds awesome. And then that's when I started listening to more of that stuff. And I found Dustin Christ. Does he still exist? Anyway, I found him. And through him, I found people like Aerodynamish, and one of the early ones I believe was BioPhoenix, if I remember correctly. I think BioPhoenix was kind of attached to that group, and I met BioPhoenix here, and I was like, "What the fuck is he talking about?" And then like playing all these games I'd never heard of, but that's kind of cool. And then that's where I saw like,
oh shit, sorry.
I think. That may have been the ones that I remember, because shortly after that, I was like, I'm going to make a video myself. I'm going to do this. And so I set like this DSLR camera up on like a table. There was no lighting. I didn't even turn the light on. Forgot. I mean, I wouldn't have known anyway, but and I had no microphone, so it was just the DSLR microphone. And I just kind of put it there, and I sketched out like the ideas of what I thought of BioShock Infinite. And then I tried to like do a thing, and I was like, this is so bad. Like, this is really terrible. And
First video is always bad.
I cannot release it. I literally, I have no branding. Like, I didn't know like what I would even call my channel. I didn't have anything. It was so bad. It was horrible. So I shelved it, and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna leave this to the experts, the people that are just like me that are doing it, but that have done it for longer. And that stayed that way for probably like half a year or so. I don't know, maybe a couple months. I don't remember. Do you want me to keep going like until I started making
Yeah,
content?
because I'm just curious. I do want to say I know what time you're talking about. I was playing Infinite at the same time you were because I had it also on PS Plus. So it's just
Excellent.
the
Wow.
same time I played it.
There's a
Yeah,
parallel there.
that's
That's
because
cool.
that's why I played it because I was like terrified to play it at first because I love the first game so much. But yeah, I remember playing it when it was on Plus. Yeah, I do. I am curious because like like maybe go up until like you're established, into making content. That's kind of where I want to.
Sure. So I'm at work and I'm for my job at the time I was writing our department's process documents. And I there was a guy that actually wrote the process documents. I would just submit him the changes that needed to be made, and it was his job to like type it in and format it. And that person's name was Eric. And I sat with him, and we'd just be sitting for like hours. I'd be like, "You need to add this there and this there and this there," and he'd be like, "Okay, okay." And we'd be doing our thing and typing along. And I saw him on his phone a couple times. He was watching like World of Warcraft videos. I was like, "Oh, you like World of Warcraft?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a huge fan." And I was like, "Oh, that's sick. I used to play that. I kind of haven't played it in a while, but I used to love that guy. Like Wrath of the Lich King, that was my big time." And he was talking to me about it and everything. He was like, "Well, if you're ever interested, I host a podcast about it. It's called, oh my God. See, my memory, I've told you before, my memory is non-existent. I don't remember the name of this podcast. It was just, I think it was like Not Another WoW Podcast or something like that. I guess there were a lot of WoW podcasts. I don't know.
Not another one.
This is not another one. Yeah. And it was him and his friend that he was playing with. And I tuned in and I went on, it was like on Twitch. And I jumped on. It had like 3 people that followed it or whatever. It was just like a lot of that shit. And I chimed in. I was like, "Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Spencer." And he's like, "Hey, what's up?" And so that was I was like, "Wow, that's really cool that you can do that. Like, I love that." And he was like, "Yeah, thanks." And I'm pretty sure this is the order. So we have to be careful. I don't not really you have to be careful, but I'm not entirely 100% sure on the order of this. But I'll say it in the way I think that it went. Eric invited me to a party at his house. So I went to his house. He was having like a little like, dude bro party, whatever. And they were playing Cards Against Humanity on the table. And I went over and I played a little bit with them and we were all laughing. And there's this really like obnoxious guy to my right. And he was just like screaming jokes the entire time. And he thought he was so funny. And he was making like every time a card was played, but he was the life of the party. Like everyone loved him, and everyone was so happy with him. Maybe I'm just like antisocial. I'm not, but maybe there's like a piece of me that's like jealous of that or wishes I could be that cool. But this guy was crazy. And then we played and well, it might have been like the next weekend or something. Eric was like, "Hey, do you want like, I noticed you said you wanted to like talk about games and like wanted to do a thing. And I know you play RPGs," because I told him like I like Chrono Trigger and RPGs and stuff. He said, "Do you want to make like a podcast where we talk about RPGs?" And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, dude. That sounds awesome." And he had all the equipment, everything was set up. So the first episodes of the Itch Network were actually at Eric's house, where he was doing the Not Another WoW podcast. And the first episode, we decided, we were like trying to figure out how the flow would be, and we learned something very sad on that first go round. We hadn't actually played that many RPGs between us, and the RPGs that we had played were completely different. So like he was a Sega boy, so he was like, "I love Shining Force 2."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "I've never heard of that. I like Chrono Trigger." He's like, "I've never heard of that." Okay, this is a problem because like we'll just be talking about RPGs, but I have no idea what the other's talking. It won't be a conversation. It'll be like a one-man show each time.
There's no like common ground. Yeah.
So we're like, "Okay, let's just talk about video games." And then we're like, what? Okay, sure. We'll just make a generic one and just have fun with it and see how it goes. And we're like, "What do we want to name the podcast?" And I think originally it was supposed to be, I cannot remember. It was close to the itch, but it wasn't the itch. It was something else. It's something about like addiction, I think, or something. I don't remember. But he found out that my username was Bad Itch on all my things, because I chose Bad Itch. The first time I ever used that was on a Heroes of New Earth account, because I knew that I would upset people with how bad I was. So I just called it Bad Itch, because it was supposed to be like when you have like an STD and you have like a really bad itch. That was kind of like edgelord joke at the time. And he liked that, and I was like, let's just call it the Itch. Like, that's kind of a cool name. And he was like, yeah, I like that. So it was just the Itch from then on. And we might have had one episode. I don't remember if we even had made an episode yet, but it was what it was. It was probably terrible. I can only imagine. I'd actually be interested to go back and look at that, see if it's still there. I'm sure it is. I didn't delete it. But afterwards, he said, I have no idea about video games, honestly. Like, I only know World of Warcraft and like the 2 games I played as a kid. So I can't be your second person. I was like, oh, that sucks. He said, but I found somebody and he's really cool. And I was like, who's that? And then in walks JD, the annoying person at the party.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, great. Turns out he was like the biggest fucking nerd. I was like, what? He was talking to me about like Golden Sun and all the Final Fantasies. And I was like, I was like, that's so crazy, because you were like that party guy. I did not picture you as like a video gamer. I didn't see that. And turns out he's like the biggest video gamer ever. He plays like 3 of them at a time. It's crazy. And then we got to doing, we found a rhythm fairly early. He tried to get me out of my shoes because he was big into Let's Plays. And we tried to do an Ace Attorney Let's Play. It's probably still up. It's probably very cringe. He was trying to get me to go into that, and I was doing like, the only impression that I knew at the time, or thought I knew at the time, was like a Jerry Seinfeld impression. But it went on for way too long. Like that's funny for like a sentence.
Yeah, Let's Plays are hard. I've tried like 3 different Let's Play series, and that's a tough market to break into.
But he just had so much energy. I was like, how does he keep doing that? Like, we were going for hours, and I was just exhausted, and he was just like on it, man. He was awesome. Yeah, and then from then on, that's how it started there, and then it moved locations just due to necessity. But I mean, that was the birth of the Itch Network.
All right, interesting. I've never actually heard you tell that story, so that's it's interesting to hear. I just kind of, when I like met you, you were already like, I guess, knee deep into the Itch Network thing, so
yeah.
So I wasn't there for the start. Question number 2, and this doesn't have to just be like YouTube or like online content creators. But whenever you are creating content, either on your own, on the button mappers, whatever it is, what are your biggest influences?
My biggest, okay, so for RPG Archive, my biggest influence is a guy named Conrad Thompson. He produces a series of wrestling podcasts where if you ever watch that podcast, you'll immediately see what I'm doing, because he'll take like an event, like a pay-per-view in wrestling, and he'll discuss the lead up to it, how well the pay-per-view sold, like all that stuff, all the numbers, and then to describe what's going on in the show, and then the aftermath of it. And I was so impressed. He started this maybe like 5 years ago or 6 years ago or something, and it's just blown up. It's like the biggest wrestling series of podcasts there are, and it's really listenable. I don't know if I've reached that point yet, although I think the podcasts are okay. But what's really cool about the concept is that you can you can just clip scenes from it and then upload them as their own videos. And it's like, oh, because we covered like this detail that people might want to know about. And so you just clip that, and that way you don't have to edit it. And so that way, that concept that comes directly from him. For making other videos, I have. Okay, I don't know if it's like a specific. I don't really have like influences because I don't watch things. I've told you this before. I've told people I don't watch movies or TV shows. I just don't. I watch whatever my girlfriend watches, and I'm usually playing a video game during it. Like I got my Steam Deck or my Switch right here, and then I'm apparently Breaking Bad is being broken on the TV or something. Yeah, my N-Gage. So I don't have a lot of film influences per se, but I grew up on like Saturday Night Live. So I guess in a way, as I gotten older and I watched some of those clips, what I'm realizing is that the skits in Saturday Night Live that I thought were bad were actually genius. It's because the writers were the performers, and they were literally having fun at the audience's expense.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that at the time. As a kid, I'm like, why is they're just like singing and like being stupid? Like, this is not funny. This is so stupid. And I realize now, like, they were just taking the piss out of me. Like, that was the full fucking point. So some of the videos that I make are like if I'm making a joke or some kind of joke thing, it's intentionally bad. Like Tim and Eric, like that. I like that. I like Tim and Eric stuff. So they'll be like intentionally stupid or bad, just to be stupid, just to waste your time.
Yeah,
I think that's funny.
It's like bad. Okay, like that kind of humor and like that kind of joke is like bad, but you have to have some sort of like sincerity. Like it can't just be bad, you know?
Right.
Like, there's supposed to be some sort of sincerity there.
Yeah, there's a level of craftsmanship to being bad, which is almost like a misnomer, but it is.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know about the wrestling podcast thing. I'm not wrestling, so why would I? But but yeah, I've always appreciated that about when you do RPG Archive, because it is very like segmented. Of course, you know, we try to clip stuff from the button mappers, but it's like stupid shit half the time. It's, it's you know, it's like, how do you kill a giant spider? You know, it's like stuff nobody's ever gonna search.
Right.
But no, that is smart though, because yeah, somebody can just be like, oh, how do I get the, you know, me and Teddy just did the SMT4 thing, and he did like how to get the best demons in SMT4. And somebody could just Google that, you know, and Teddy is
so fucking smart. He, on the second time we did that video, because we did 3 first, and that video blew up, how to make the best demons. So when we did 5, we did like a whole like hour before it, and then as soon as that thing came up, he like turned into like a like
whipped into like a different video.
Yeah, just like, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We're about to talk about the best. Yeah, and he did it for 4.
I noticed that too, because doing SMT4 was my first time like back on your channel since Nier, and back then it was like I just let you steer the ship, and I was just there to ride along. But yeah, we were doing the SMT4, and I was more involved with the planning for that. And whenever that section came up, he didn't tell me he was going to do that. Yeah, it just kind of threw me off guard, because he just like whips into the thing.
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, I get what he's doing." I was like, "Oh, that's smart."
He knows. He knows.
Okay. Question number 3. This one I think is probably less stressful to think about, and more, you know, if you have an answer, you can answer. I don't know. Question number 3 is: what is your favorite project you have ever worked on?
Wow. Oh my god. They're anything where I can be creative. Okay, this is gonna sound kind of lame, but I'll put it. It's a little personal, but I'll put it out anyway. Not a couple months ago. It had to have been like, when was Xbox month? Was that like in March? or April.
That was like March 8. I think that was. No, March was that was April. Yeah, that was definitely April.
So for Xbox month, we would do for these theme months, we would generally pass the video for each person back and forth. Like you make the intro for the month, and we ask like a stupid question or something. Scott Hall, who's a wrestler that I love, had just passed away when that happened. And I know that some people in our community are privy to the wrestling stuff. And Scott Hall was like a legendary wrestler for WCW and WWF. And he created he helped create the NWO, which is one of the biggest things. Most people out of wrestling know what the NWO is. It's that like black and white t-shirt. And so I got the opportunity. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do like an NWO style promo. Because those used to be, that kind of promo used to be on all of the WCW shows. Because they were like this like bandit faction that was like anti-establishment. So the point of them was that they would pay for their own commercials and put them on the show. So they were like these black and white, like them just fucking around and like doing goofy shit and telling jokes to each other. And I was like, let's make like a Button Mappers one, and I'll be Scott Hall and doing it, and we'll do a NWO segment. And I honestly, this is gonna sound kind of lame, but I did choke up at the end when I watched it again, because it was just so. The guy was so cool, and he had just passed away, so it was a really cool scene. But anything where I can be creative is fun. I think a while ago we did a Button Mappers one where there was like a second me or something. He was like next to me.
Yeah, I remember you were mocking me and Teddy. We did the thing where we were talked together on the couch. And
yeah, that's what
I remember that. I don't remember what that was for, but I remember that gag though. You just gotta come in.
So that was fun. I remember being so mad at it because the effect was off, because you could tell where the green screen was. It was literally like to the left or something. But my girlfriend said it looked amazing. I'm like, you don't even know what you're fucking talking about. But that was fun. For the Itch Network, we did some commercials, which was fun. They weren't that good, but they were fun to make. It was just fun to flex a creative muscle every now and then. Because usually when like I'm editing, it's like the same thing. And it's just like, you got to cut this and add this there and this there. But it's like, it's very rare that I get presented with something where it's like, just make it weird. Like have a vision and try to make it come to life. And I'm like, oh shit, that's pretty neat. Like I can do, and I get to be creative and edit it. So that's fun. I like that stuff.
Surprised you didn't say text.
Wow. That's a good point. No, text would definitely be one of my favorites. So, and that holds some sentimental value as well, because my dad had just passed away, I think by like the 5th episode or the 6th or something.
It was like what, 2017 we were doing those?
Yeah, it would have to be. Yeah, 2017. He just passed away, like I think when we filmed like the second to last or the last or something. Can't remember. So that holds a special place in my heart. The filming of that was so weird. I probably still have all the outtakes, of which there are many, because Roosevelt has a very difficult time reading, like on the screen. So with that you have to read the screen, but also like look at try to make it look natural. He could not do it for shit.
I can't do a prompt either. Trust me, I've tried.
he could not do it for shit. We have so many outtakes of just me like yelling at him to get it right. But I was so impressed that they did everything that I asked them to do, because I had them say some pretty questionable things. I can't even remember some of this, but I just remember like things about abortions and things about like racism, and I had them say like weird shit, but they said every single one of them, and even offered suggestions here and there. So that was cool. We were actually supposed to do another one that was starring Eric, and we were going to do, believe it or not, Sonic Adventure, the first one, but I just couldn't get the inspiration for it. Like I think I wrote like the first 2 episodes, and I was just like, they're not very good, and I can't get it right. So I'm a little disappointed with that. But Tex was cool, and people have requested that I do it again. I just don't know where or how it would even work.
X was fun because it was like a mockumentary style,
Mhm.
and really fun. I know how weird it is to like direct your friends. Like that could be a weird atmosphere,
Yeah.
but like if you're all on the same page, like it can be so much fun. And like that was like half the fun for me watching those episodes was like just like I could like just tell that like you guys were having a blast making it.
Yeah. Do you know what the inspiration was for that? You might know.
That
You might know after I tell you. It was 30 Rock. I was watching a lot of 30 Rock at
oh
the time, and I like how 30 Rock is a show that's clearly about the writers, not about the actors. And the writers just trying to make them say as stupid shit as they could. And that was my inspiration for text, was like, I want to just write like bizarre shit and have this Texan guy just say it.
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always like the tech series. Maybe you could bring it back for RPG Archives. I don't know.
I've thought about it. Like originally text was supposed to be a link to the past.
Okay.
But I was like, I'm gonna not do that because I don't know what. There's not a whole lot I can say about the game necessarily.
Plus, you don't want to ignite the Zelda community. Come on, stay out of there.
But maybe like I thought like
Hornet's Nest.
I thought like Earthbound maybe.
Ooh, okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Or where to leave off? I think okay. I'm on question 4, and this one I think is a question. There's many ways to answer this question, and something that I think we can all have our own answer to. Because whenever you're creating content online, some people do it for money. Obviously, we're not those people. We're not making any money off this stuff. So I wanted to ask you, what does creation mean to you?
Well, I will throw my hat in the towel. Hat in the towel.
Throw your hat at the towel.
I'll throw my hat at the towel. That sounds better. And say that I would love to make money from it.
Me too. Absolutely.
I 100% would love to make money from it. I'm not opposed to saying that. We don't currently make money from it. You have seen us try to make things more marketable, and there's progress. But what does content creation mean to me, or creation mean to me? I guess it's a representation of me in the public space that people can refer to. I don't. Again, a lot of my influences are like Tim and Eric, so I'm like,
Yeah. Okay, so like, what like does I guess what I'm getting at? Maybe I worded the question weird. Like, whenever you are creating something, like, what does that do for you?
oh, it's the greatest thing in the world to create. Because it's unique as soon as it's done. And it's yours. And it's really like an opportunity to be unique. So like that's where the money part argues with the creativity part. It's like, okay, like when I'm creating something, we could, if we want to make a bunch of money, we could like really tone down our thing, like learn a lot about a game or something, like play it for like 50 hours and then make the same video that everyone else has made, but about this game that nobody's touched on yet or something, and potentially make money there. But to me, it's about like, obviously I'd like to make money. I've said that, but I want to do it where I can also be creative. And that's why I like these podcasts, either the Button Mappers or mine, or helping, like jumping on your guys' stuff, is that it's our opportunity to make something that isn't commercially available, but is unique. And if it's not going to be profitable, it's sure as hell going to be weird. So like,
I know
let's shoot for that.
That's the I know, like, just in the process of creating the bud mappers, because obviously I'm a part of that. Is just like, I know that's kind of like where we tried to ride the line, is like what's marketable and creative, because it's hard to be both.
Yeah.
It's hard to be on both sides, because we could just do a boring podcast, and I'm sure we could like try to market it as sterilely as possible, but also we can be weird and creative, and that might turn people away. So it's like a weird middle ground you have to meet.
Well, that's one of my biggest pet peeves in our like culture of gaming or channels or whatever is nerd or geek. I hate that shit. I don't consider myself a nerd. I don't consider myself a geek. I I think when I was growing up, that shit was made fun of. And you were told, you were like, that was like a bad trait to have. And now people are like embracing it. No, it's not a good, it's like, don't market me as like a geek or something. Cause that's all it is them trying to tell you like, you're a geek. So you have to like Star Trek. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I like Star Trek. It's like, no, I fucking hate it. I think it's fucking stupid. Like, oh, you're a geek. You have to like a whole bunch of stuff. Like all the geeks that I see now where they're marketed as geeks, they're like, oh boy, they're on like, I love the Evil Dead, or I love this, or I literally love like everything that I have to like because I'm a geek.
Attacking Evil Dead.
But I mean, the point is they like you can like Evil Dead or whatever. That's fine. But as a geek, you have to like everything because at this point it's a marketing ploy to be like, oh, yeah, geeks like this, so you have to like it. It's like, oh, I guess I do.
It's Marvel. It's the Marvel problem right now.
Exactly.
And like, now I'm not saying anything bad about Marvel in particular. I've liked some of the Marvel stuff, but it's the same thing where it's like, you gotta like the Eternals. And I'm like, that shit sucked.
Yeah. It's like, fuck that.
You know, that's bullshit. You know? Yeah. So I get what you're saying.
So like,
I was gonna say I kind of like the term geek. I kind of use that like ironically when I do like the geeks and gamers.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Because it's like everybody has like a tagline, you know, like everybody has like their thing. So, you know, like we even have like a parody of that over the butt mappers. We have the maps and mittens, which makes no sense. But you know, it's just kind of like everybody like has that like, oh, it's my hook, it's my quirky little thing. So, you know, you gotta have to like fun of that.
But you see like any fucking gaming podcast or nerd podcast, and it's just like a bunch of man babies with their toys, like trying to like out toy each other.
Dude, have you watched art? Okay, I think we've talked about it before. Are you big into Red Letter Media?
Yes.
They're like nerdcast for Star Wars that they. Oh my god,
those
are some of my favorite. Those are my favorite videos where they just parody all the different podcasts.
It's so fucking true. Like if it didn't have the Red Letter Media logo, it is the exact thing. It would
just be one of those podcasts.
And it's so embarrassing. Like I would refuse to call myself that. And if if I know people that call themselves nerds, I'm like, I'll beat you up. Like I'll literally kick your ass because I think that's fucking lame. So like, yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's like. I also think to like what you were saying about like having to accept everything is like, yeah, I like that. Like I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt right now, and like I like 2 of the movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the other like 7 movies or whatever. I think there's more than that. The other movies, just fucking speak all day about how they're probably bullshit, but you know, but I still Dude, like what I like.
As I get older and older, I hate Star Wars more and more. Like,
oh no!
Like I used to be like, oh, I the original trilogy is great, and then the other like 1, 2, and 3, I'm like, nah, not really. It's pretty bad. And then I saw like 7, 8, and 9, like those are all fucking trash. And I saw like Rogue, whatever those are, like those are trash too. And then
1 and Solo. this
summer I was watching Return of the Jedi on like vacation. I'm just sitting there watching it like, this is kind of trash too.
I did last December or last January, I forget. We did the Dojo episode on Star Wars, and I rewatched Jedi because that's the only one that I really. I see Empire and A New Hope all the time. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I need to watch Jedi again. I had the same experience where I was like, this kind of sucks.
Yeah. Like maybe I'll just never watch any of them again, and I just say I like the first trilogy.
Just like, yeah, like preserve your like, yeah, your innocence.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, it's like, I think that's something that I appreciate about the button mappers is that like, I don't want to make this about the button mappers, but you're involved with that. Is that like we try to be creative, we try to be marketable, but we also aren't afraid to like opinions and like fight with each other. So,
Oh, I mean, I feel like I don't remember exactly, but I'm sure I made that clear when I joined. It's like, dude, you've seen my podcast. I refuse to just accept your opinion for what it is and not argue with you because I will. That's the to me. There's too many podcasts of people just yes-menning each other. I don't want to be that at all.
so we got a little off topic. That's fine though. There's no real structure to this. But we'll move on to my next question. Question 5. There's 7, by the way, so we have a few left. Question 5 is: imagine you have just unlimited budget. You can do whatever you want. This is your full-time job. What is your dream project?
I have already investigated it, and it's something I want to explore. But I want to interview people in the industry. And so like
Dude, interviewers fucking suck.
right, they're terrible. No, they do suck. Like I want to interview a person that worked on Dragon Quest, right?
Oh, okay.
But not necessarily. I mean, if I could get the Sugi whatever or Yuji Horii, that would be really cool. I don't ever see that happening. But like if I could get somebody that worked on it, great. I would not geek out with them. I would not be like, "Oh my god, you animated Eric. Like what was that like? Was it the best experience of your life?" No, I want to be like,
"Can I suck your dick?" Yeah, it's kind of
I'll be like, "How long did you work on it?" Like, yeah, can I suck your dick? Like I'd be like, "How long did you work on it? Like what were the big challenges of doing it? Yada yada yada." And I want to get like the nitty-gritty, like why did it come out this way? Like why is Eric constantly like supposed to be gay with the main character? Like what was that a plan when you started? Like not. I don't want to gush over him. I want to just ask him.
Did you like a between two ferns type thing where you're just like not as mean? I don't know if you've seen that with Zach Galifianakis. Not as mean. You know what I mean though? Where it's just like it's an interview, but it's like it's kind of like mean at points.
Not really, just because that. I mean, I'm also assuming what you're saying is you don't want it to be a scripted because that's clearly a very scripted one.
Yeah, it's very scripted. You know what I mean? Like that spirit where it's like not your regular interview.
It would certainly be that, but it's just a more just like RPG Archive is just a very factual interview.
Okay.
Not and it can still be fun, but I don't want like okay. So like I helped a company called Media Glitch do an Arizona gaming festival, right? And I like did the filming for it and did the prep work for their stuff. And the interview, they would have like those panels, you know? And it would be like the person that did the voice of an anime character, like some dumb lady, was like on stage giving like an inspirational speech to the people about how if they believe in their dreams, they can achieve it.
Oh my gosh, she played Lois Griffin.
Yeah. and I was just like, I was like looking around like, is this for real? Like this fucking loser probably lives in an apartment in like Arkansas or something. Like, and she's like inspiring. There's like 6-year-olds in there that are like in tears. And there was even like a guy next to me. He was like a 40-year-old that was like, "You're blowing me away, man." I'm just like, you're an idiot. Like you guys are all dumb. Like don't take career advice from these people that like she got her job because she has a voice that sounds appealing. Like
because like she can read a script.
Yeah, if any of you guys try, you'll sound like an idiot. Like they'll tell you to go away immediately because you're terrible. Like keep working at whatever low rent job you have or whatever, and just try to pay the bills. Like they're like, I don't want that. I don't want inspiration. I just want like the facts, and we can have fun with that. But
so, given this dream interview show, who would be your number one guest? Like who would if you can get anybody?
If I can get freaking anybody, because my goal with it was to get like people that nobody had heard of, but I guess like
I mean, I guess you still count
like a big get.
Big get that nobody's heard of.
Yeah, that nobody's heard of. No, but like okay, like if I could get like a crazy guess, like a big name, who would it be? Dude, I would like to be interviewed by Joe Rogan. That would be cool.
Oh wow.
I'm a big Joe Rogan fan. I think he's the best at what he does, and certainly couldn't really be argued that getting on his show will get some eyes on me. But I think it would just be fun, man. Just like to shoot the shit with that guy. He's so funny, like, and interesting. I'd be cool with that. And then and then Joe Rogan would be like, what do you do? It's like, I interview people you've never heard of about things you've never heard of. Really interesting.
Do you think Joe Rogan's a Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy guy?
Definitely a Final Fantasy guy.
Definitely Final Fantasy guy.
He used to play a bunch of, I think he was big on Quake. Like, that was his game. He said he couldn't play it anymore because he would literally play it for like hours.
Okay. Okay. Question number 6. This one is, we're in this community, and it's not like we're the most popular YouTubers. I'm not fucking PewDiePie, I'm not whatever.
Not yet.
We still have people that do watch our content, and so question number 6 is, what's your advice for someone listening who wants to follow in your footsteps?
To me, at this point, it would be branding. Create everything you think you will need up front. And I mean, like, the colors. Like, have a color scheme. Have a logo. Have, your channel created and maybe not published or whatever. I don't know how that works. But have what you want people to see ready. Like, get your shit down and then make something, and just make it. Like, who the fuck cares if it sucks? Just go for it. You got all those other pieces. Those are great. Now just make your thing in the vision that you wanted. See how it comes out, and then the next video, just see how you can do it better.
Yeah. No, that I can agree to that too. Is that because I feel like I'm good when I'm like, I have an idea for like a brand and like the name, and then I have no good follow through. Where I get people all the time that it's like, you review like racing games, like what is Turbo Zone? And I'm like, I don't know. So I feel like I'm like, brand name, yeah, brand, and then I'm like, follow through, yeah. So I could totally agree to that.
Yeah, I was back in the Itch Network. I learned all that because I had nothing. We didn't have any branding or anything, and we just started releasing videos, and they just look very inconsistent.
Yeah,
for a long time.
For a while too, yeah.
And people like consistency. People like to hear the music at the beginning that they know, is your thing. Like, I loved I got this from you actually when you had like the Turbo Zone. The intros were so catchy, and I remember it used to be like Turbo, ding, or something.
Oh, like the original one where it was like somebody blowing in a cartridge.
Yeah, like Turbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like when you hear it over and over again, you get used to it and you like it. It's comforting. So like that kind of stuff is important.
Yeah, I picked that up from Classic Game Room because, like, again, big influence for me. And he kind of has like certain music. He would use certain public domain music, use it in like a way that made it his almost. And I kind of got that. So like whenever I would start one of his videos, it would start with like the do 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 do, like there's like songs like that I'm like, this is a Classic Game Room. So that's a kind of like how I always wanted to brand my content, is that like whenever somebody clicks on my video, I want them to be like, this is a Turbo Zone video. So so like, yeah. Now for a while I've been running with like the freaking did it.
It's catchy, man.
But so yeah, and that's part of your branding. It's like having like a familiar sound. To like kind of ease you into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I can't really help you because I'm not a successful YouTuber. So.
I don't think success is success isn't necessarily measured by like the views or anything like that. Like success is also just making good content, you know. So yeah, there's different ways to measure success online. Now, obviously, if we're making money and had a bunch of, but I've seen a lot of like big YouTubers that make a ton of money that make shitty content or just make content that just it seems like they're uninterested in, where it's like, why do you even do you just do this to pay your bills now? They start the video and they're like, Hello Fresh is a box where you get tomatoes or something. And I'm just like, great, thanks.
I would
What are you
love
talking
to get
about?
to the point where I have to read ads for stuff that I don't like. That would be great.
Yeah. Give me an ad read right now. Give me an ad read. I'll give you a fake product if you can give me an ad read. All right.
Okay.
Pillow socks. They're socks, little pillows on each toe, for your toes to rest at night.
Okay. Um, are your toes sore at night? Do they complain about their bad toenails? Well, if we got the product for you, never have your toes complain again. We have toe pillows, the pillows for your
Socks.
toes, toe socks, pillow socks,
Socks.
pillow
Yeah.
socks, the socks, the pillows for your socks.
Give it like a glove, but for each toe and individually.
So that's not
and
really
have
a
pillow.
That's like a toe sock, a toe pillow.
The toe pillow. Foot glove. I don't know. This idea's got off the rails. All right, I got one more question.
buy the toe socks though, because they are a good
Pillow
product. I have
sock.
3 of them.
Last question, and this one is just a fun one, just a fun little one to end things off here. What's a fun fact about yourself that your audience may not know about you?
I don't have anything fun about me. They
Aw,
may
man.
not know that I'm a twin. I have a twin brother. He's not like me. We're fraternal, so he doesn't look like me. He's kind of a dork.
Is he a geek?
He's a bit of a geek. He's married with 2 kids. He's living.
What a dork!
What a dweeb. What a loser. Let's see. I was born with pigeon toes. Like I developed pigeon toes at an early age, and I had to outlearn that. I think it still comes back every once in a while, but
A toe talk today.
yeah, lots of toe talk. Get your toe socks, boys. I mean,
the new series toe talk.
don't skimp on the toe socks, man. I play guitar poorly, and I occasionally make music. I've made like 2 CDs that are you would never want to listen to them, but they're there. They're probably not there actually. I think I've destroyed every last one of them, but they're out there somewhere, probably on a phone or something. I don't know. I'm not that interesting of a person. Oh, I'm very interested in real estate.
Okay.
It's a bit of a hobby / obsession.
I always appreciate your musical ability. I always appreciate your ability just to be a creative person in general. I feel like, like whenever you're growing up, you have 2 parents, and one of them is like the clean your room, eat your vegetables, and then the other one's kind of like the more the playful person.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm the kid that on the butt mappers I have 2 parents named Teddy and Spencer. And it's like whenever I have a stupid creative idea, I usually will coast it your way, because if it doesn't have a like a clear purpose, usually Teddy doesn't latch onto it as much.
No.
So I feel like you're the creative parents in this scenario. So like I'm like, hey man, you want to watch Wendy's fucking training videos?
Well, to be fair, and I don't think Teddy would argue this. I'm more of the video editor. So like when you float a project, you're like, by the way, and not that those are that hard to make, but in general, if you float a creative project, it's like, well, somebody's got to make this, by the way, and it's like, Teddy's probably like, I don't really want to make that. It's like, fair enough, you know.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, and I'm not trying to like speak ill about Teddy or anything. I'm just saying like Teddy is very
he's pragmatic.
yeah, and a thing like I know whenever we were starting the butt mappers, like things have to have like purpose, you know. And what's the purpose of watching a fucking Wendy's training video besides laughing at the Wendy's training video? Like, there's no like the content was meaningless, you know.
Yeah.
It was just there to be fun.
And he's not wrong.
Yeah. Like, how am I gonna market a Wendy's training video? Yeah. But no, I always appreciate that about our relationship, because I'm able to be like, hey man, I want to make this stupid thing. Like, it's like the April Fool's thing last year, where it's like, hey man, I want to make a fake infomercial for a button mapper CD or something.
Yeah. Oh god, that was fun to make.
Yeah, or just stupid shit like that. It's always fun. That's why I always want to, and I still want to at some point, if we ever get back up and running. It's been rough since 2020, but to get you on a frickin' Frag episode, I feel like that would be so fun. So like,
wasn't I supposed to be like a news anchor or something?
Yeah, I had an idea to do something remotely, but I kind of like actually want to do something with you in person somehow. But I don't know how we would work that out. Something we talk about later. I've always wanted to have you in an episode because I know like just watching like the tech stuff, I know like it's fun just to see like your creative spark. So actually have you like play a role.
I had like 50,000 different ideas about my channel before I did RPG Archive. Yeah. There was a text channel. It's actually I've created a text channel. I just never
Tex-Mex
uploaded to it. There was, dude, I had a weird fucking one. It was one where I was supposed to, I bought a wig, like an old man wig, and I was gonna read like bedtime stories, but like psychoanalyze them and like write notes about, and just there would just be nonsense notes like about. Like,
that's awesome.
Like Pinocchio's actually communism, and like try to explain that to children.
Dissect the like,
but like be wrong.
It's on fables.
Like be wrong about all of them, like obscenely wrong, but and like racist and horrible. But like that was an idea. Another one was to make like a kids show about games and like have sock puppets. And like
I thought tap into that kids market.
Well, no, it would be like an adult, but look like a kids show, and it would just like be little hints at like weird things. Like his thing was gonna be that he like had an ex that was like a meth head that was stealing his like microwave all the time, and like funny. Just things like that. Like they all usually end up on the cutting room floor because it would just be too much effort.
Yeah, I had that same problem where it's like I come up with these stupid ideas and I'm just like, yeah, and then I just don't. It's the follow through, man. It's tough.
It's like, this would be really cool. What do I do when episode 2 comes around? And I'm like, I don't want to do it. It always ends up being like, oh fuck that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how like. Frickin' Frack even was like, at first we were just like, we'll do like one-off videos and like the characters die all the time, and then like we're like, let's write continuity now. So then, like the follow through doesn't make any sense. Yes, that's like it's like what?
I would love to see like the character arc that your characters are going through. Like,
we have a character arc and we have explanations. It's so funny. Because at first we were just like, let's just make these dumb videos.
Yeah.
And later on we were like, let's actually like try to make this something.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just fun to be creative, man.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for indulging me, Spencer.
Oh, anytime is a blast.
Yeah. I'm gonna post this unedited onto my channel, and people can listen to it and let me know what they think. And hopefully, sometime in the future, I will interview other people in our YouTube community and pick their brains.
Could be you.
Not me. I'm me. It'd be weird if I was like sitting there like by myself, just like, okay, Alex, question number 2.
Be creative.
Yeah. Okay, Alex, how did you first get into content creation? Well, Alex,
Well, you could do it like where you're looking at the thing, and then your person or you ask yourself who's on a different webcam or something, and then you turn your head and answer it. Like it would be
you
like
should get like a
constantly.
mirror, like just like be in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
All right, no, I'll do one of those. I'll pre-record all my answers, and
Yeah.
then I'll do the Weird Al thing where I'll then like undo the answers and then make my own. Sorry, undo the questions and make my own questions. Then like make my other self look like an idiot. but it would make no sense because it's just me.
Yeah. It's literally just you.
So I feel like, is he making himself look stupid? What's going on here?
That'd be great.
I always love those. All right, man. I guess this is a good place to wrap up then.
Okay.
How do we end this? Bye.